A value hotel resort with regular transportation to and from Universal Orlando Resort, with early park admission, 0 resort fees. The Endless Summer Dockside Inn and Suites is Universal's newest hotel, which continues to grow in popularity. But is the cheapest resort on property the smartest choice, or should you be paying the extra for one of Universal's more expensive options? Hi, I'm the Frugal Brit, and for this video I'll provide an overview and review of Universal's Endless Summer Resort Dockside Inn and Suites. Throughout the video I will try my best in answering whether or not this resort is right for you. I'll provide comparisons to other hotels at Universal, including Surfside Inn and Suites, off-site hotels, and the value resorts over at Walt Disney World. I'll also sprinkle in some tips to get the best out of any visit here. Before we get into it, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss out on future guides, reviews, and other Orlando vacation content. So for those new to Universal Orlando's accommodation options, back in 2019 they introduced the value resort category, which consists of 2 resorts known as the Endless Summer Surfside Inn and Suites, which I previously reviewed a couple years ago, as well as the Endless Summer Dockside Inn and Suites resort, which we'll be covering in this video. As we'll get into later in the video, both resorts are very similar and often lumped together as being the Endless Summer resorts. Unlike all other Universal hotel options, the Endless Summer resorts are not located on the main Universal Orlando complex. Instead, they are located on the other side of the I-4 highway, where International Drive and Universal Boulevard meet. Surfside is to the west with 750 rooms, and Dockside is to the east with a whopping 2,050 rooms, which are split between 2 towers connected to the centralised lobby. Whilst Surfside has a casual surf theming, Dockside is inspired by docks and piers with a warmer colour scheme and lots of sunset-inspired artwork. Inside its large lobby, it has a large driftwood structure at the centre. On your left you have the obligatory lobby Starbucks, and straight ahead you have the Universal Studios store containing exclusive Endless Summer merchandise. If you head left from the entrance, you'll find the VW campervan themed Sunset Lounge with cocktails named after attractions from the old Wet n Wild water park, which the Surfside Inn resort was built over. As you continue clockwise around the lobby, you'll arrive at the Pier 8 Marketplace food court, serving breakfast, lunch and dinner. There's a number of different food stations, including a bakery, sandwich, grill, pizza, waffle and salad bar stations. There's also a grab-and-go section. On the north wing of Tower 1 you'll find a complimentary fitness centre, and at the centre of Tower 1 you'll find the first of 2 pool areas, which has a small splash pad and contains the Oasis Beach Bar. So if we head over to the opposite side of the resort, we'll arrive at Tower 2. This contains the arcade room. And then at the centre of Tower 2 we have the other pool area, which I was told is slightly bigger and features the Wavemakers pool bar. When it comes to transportation, due to the location away from the main Universal complex, there's no access to the garden walkway or the water taxi. However, guests benefit from the regular shuttle buses travelling over to City Walk and Volcano Bay, which arrive every 10 to 15 minutes or so. For transportation over to SeaWorld, I believe there is limited scheduled transportation via the Connector shuttle, with 1 pickup in the morning and 1 drop-off in the evening. To book your slot on this, be sure to inquire with the vacation planning desk in the lobby area. For transportation over to Disney World, you'll probably find Uber or Lyft is your best bet. If you are bringing a car with you, keep in mind that there will be a $15 charge per day to park at the resort. So there's 2 main options when selecting your room. So half of the rooms at Dockside Inn are your standard 2 queen bed rooms, with the other half being the 2 bedroom suites. Starting with the standard rooms, these contain an ice bucket, a mini fridge, a 43-inch smart TV, under-bed storage, bedside USB charging ports. They feature an open bathroom with a single vanity, basic shower, wardrobe with an iron and ironing board, and a small safe. Do note, however, that the standard rooms do not feature coffee makers, a microwave, a kettle, or any kitchen utensils. For the suite, you have 2 bedrooms, although it doesn't quite feel like that. You have a kitchenette area with a picnic table, and unlike the standard rooms, you have a microwave and coffee maker. I should mention that there is no resort fee for staying at Dockside Inn, so unless you plan to park at the resort, you don't need to worry about hidden charges. The key benefits for staying on site with Universal include regular bus transportation and early park admission for certain sections of the theme parks, mainly the Wizarding World. However, guests do not get free Universal Express Pass benefits, which is limited only to guests staying at one of the 3 premier resorts. So I've stayed at both Endless Summer resorts now, as well as many of the alternatives in this price range, so I'll go through the key areas and compare against the other options. Starting with the location, I do think this could put off a lot of potential guests, especially those used to staying within the Universal or Disney World bubbles, and those familiar with this part of International Drive. It's not the nicest section of iDrive, especially during the weekends at night. I have to say, I was initially overly cynical about Universal's decision to make it as awkward as possible to get onto iDrive, but on reflection, I do now understand why. However, for many Endless Summer fans, the location on International Drive is considered a bonus over Cabana Bay, as you have more dining options nearby. Also, there's a 24-hour Walgreens a short walk away. The number 4 and number 2 entries for my top 10 restaurants on International Drive video are both within walking distance of these resorts, just about. Personally, I've never come close to being bothered by anyone on iDrive, but if you are concerned about this sort of thing, you are insulated away from it with the entrances being on Universal Boulevard. Without a doubt, the best thing about staying at this resort is the bus transportation. It's not often that buses are the subject of praise in an Orlando review, but these buses are not like those at Walt Disney World. They arrive very regularly, they're rarely crowded, definitely compensates for the fact that you're not staying within the main Universal complex. You can actually walk back from City Walk, and whilst not ideal, it's not as bad as many people think actually. I've done it a few times, mainly when I'm trying to get the calories in after eating one too many donuts. If you're the type of person who prefers to walk rather than waiting at a bus stop, it's nice to have this option, something that's considered a massive luxury at Walt Disney World. One thing I should also mention here is that Universal is planning to build a new theme park which will be located further south near the Rosen Shingle Creek in 2025, so the Endless Summer resorts will be very conveniently located between all Universal Orlando parks. When it comes to the rooms, it's not the most original or exciting of themes, but well executed. Sufficient space for the price, but the storage space is poor. It's quite common for people to complain about the noise from the other rooms, especially on the lower floors and rooms located near the elevators. With this in mind, I would personally avoid a room near the elevators on the lower floors. The only reason I could think to pick a lower floor would be saving time, as the elevators here have been known to have queues during busy periods, especially if any of them are offline. Personally, I tend to always request a hotel room as high as possible, as these tend to be quieter. In terms of deciding which tower to pick, worth noting that Tower 1 is closer to the bus stop. Inside the rooms, it's a little disappointing not to have a microwave, as a lot of the nearby off-site alternative hotels do. I appreciate that Dockside provides the family suite option. Getting a decent price for a family of 5 can often be awkward, especially on site. But whilst these are advertised as 2-bedroom, in reality it's more like 1 bedroom with 2 other beds in the shared area of the suite, which feels a bit misleading. Still, much better than having to pay for 2 adjoining rooms. At this point, I think it's worth comparing Dockside with some of the alternative hotel resort options available, but not before I kindly ask that you consider subscribing and hitting the like button if you've enjoyed the video so far. So we'll start with the value resorts at Disney World. One thing a lot of people appreciate about Dockside is the layout of the hotel rooms, compared to the Disney World motel style externally accessed rooms at the value and moderate resorts. Dockside is much more condensed with internal hallways. You can get to all the amenities far quicker by comparison. Whilst you do miss out on some fun theming and landscaping which the Disney resorts offer, things are a lot more convenient at Dockside, which I think most seem to prefer. The quality of the rooms are quite similar to the newly remodeled value rooms at Disney, which began at Pop Century. You won't find microwaves in these rooms either, but they do contain coffee makers. One area where Dockside massively outperforms the Disney Value Resorts is transportation, which is much more efficient, with the added bonus of being able to walk to the main parks. But the main advantage Dockside has over the Disney options is price. So a standard room at Dockside costs around $115 off-peak, whereas an off-peak reservation in Disney World will cost around $150, but that's only if you book way in advance. For a lot of people, it's worth the extra money being inside the Disney bubble with Disney on-site perks, better theming for the kids, but for many, the transportation inconvenience is a big issue. A couple other minor advantages over the Disney resorts are that Dockside has more space in the pool areas, and you also won't find a lobby bar at any of the Disney Valley resorts. When it comes to comparing with Cabana Bay, because of its age, I would say that Dockside is in better condition and the rooms are actually slightly bigger than Cabana Bay. But it doesn't have the advantage, of course, of being located next door to Volcano Bay with its exclusive resort entrance and garden walk path over to City Walk. Cabana Bay also has much better amenities with a lazy river in one pool and water slide on the other. But all these advantages come at a cost. For an off-peak day, you can expect to pay about $40 more per night. So obviously need to consider how much you're going to be using those extra amenities in deciding whether the extra cost is worth it. When it comes to comparing with Surfside Inn, things are much more difficult with them being so similar. But Surfside Inn only has one pool, whilst it's nice, not quite as nice as those at Dockside, which feels slightly more upscale. I think you can say that about most things when comparing these two resorts. The only thing that does bug me about these pools at Dockside is that they will typically close one of them during off-peak times, and that's the same over at Cabana Bay. The food court is also larger at Dockside with better choices, and the same can be said about the gift store. Surfside also doesn't have a lobby bar. However, the smaller size is an advantage for many guests that want to be able to travel to different areas of the resort in the shortest amount of time. Surfside is much better for this. The smaller size also means it's not as busy. When it comes to transportation, Surfside has the advantage. It's easier to get onto International Drive, and when it comes to the buses, they will pick up first from Surfside before heading over to Dockside. Overall, personally, I think Dockside slightly edges it, but I don't think anything would dissuade me from just booking whichever is the cheapest. International Drive provides a lot of other options when travelling to Universal Orlando, SeaWorld or Disney World, which historically have offered much better value than staying on site. However, that has changed somewhat with the Endless Summer Resorts, which don't charge any resort fees. I do find myself recommending off-site hotels near Universal less often these days in this price range, unless it's the Rosen hotels, which do offer great value. One reason not to consider Dockside would be if you need to save money by preparing your own meals. If that's the case, the Dockside rooms don't have the facilities for this, so you might want to consider somewhere like the Homewood Suites on International Drive. Or for cheaper, you have the Enclave Suites. In summary, whilst Dockside Inn does have its issues, mainly noise related, it is a resort that I am constantly recommending to my friends. Fantastic value with no dreaded resort fees, fantastic transportation over to the parks. I considered booking for my next 3-week holiday with the family. I did in the end go for the Cabana Bay because of its location advantage. However, I do feel like the Endless Summer Resorts are the best value options when visiting Universal Orlando. That's it for this video. Thank you for watching. I hope you have an awesome trip to Orlando whenever that is. Do check out my other videos to help with planning, and if you're interested in future Orlando content, don't forget to subscribe.